is gonna be low. It's a beautiful 2020 GMC Denali Dually.
I'm ready to shock people when they see this thing.
We're gonna put this one all the way on the ground and still be able to haul all his other trucks. We're making one of the longest frames we ever made. New, huge 4-link and incorporate the gooseneck hitch in.
What does we left?
We can top the top of the line. This 57 Chevy Bel Air Pro Mod is pretty rare to see one with a diesel in it.
Approximately 3,000 horsepower.
It looks like it's been an accident. The hood of that thing, man, is rough.
It had an exhaust leak out of the side right here.
We were just getting made fun of in the pits. Just needs a little bit of TLC. Oh my gosh, bro! Freaking big car.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, it gets a little intense around the shop, so we've had dogs around. You know, Timmy confiscated Blue, so, you know, I decided to take my daughter, Presley, off to the pound to go get a new shop dog. What's up, man? How you doing? Hey. What you think, Presley? He's good size, huh?
Yeah.
I think we ought to get him out, check him out.
Yeah, me too.
He's a little skittish, but
yeah,
he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think he's a good shop dog, but I had my eye on one I want to take home too.
You know, we got enough at home right now.
I mean, there's always room for one more. It's okay though.
I think we found our new shop dog.
Yeah.
Come on.
Butch.
Like Cleve or something.
No, Butch.
Cleve?
Butch. Come on.
You know, I always get excited seeing a new project roll in. You know, you always hear talk on the phone, hey, I'm going to bring you this, I'm going to bring you that. But, you know, it's never real until the project actually gets onto the property. And seeing this thing backed up, I'm ready to get going. Made it, huh?
Yes, sir. So what you going to do to this thing?
Man, I don't even know yet.
No?
I guess I'm going to have to get with the owner and really see what's going on, right? I was expecting a new dually. I didn't realize it was a brand new dually. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful 2020 GMC Denali Dually. One of my personal favorites, just seeing a dually come in. You know, he's got the right idea.
It's going to be nasty.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Let me know when it's done, bro.
You got it.
All right, bro.
This 3500 Denali Dually was shipped from the owner in Kansas City with a top-of-the-line 6.6 turbo diesel. It's a good-looking truck. It's a beautiful truck. You know, I can't wait to talk to him to really see what we're doing to this thing. It's going to be a great, great project. JD, what's happening?
Yeah, hey, what's going on, Bill?
Another day in paradise here at Extensive.
Oh, yeah, always.
Man, we got a big white GMC Dually outside with your name on it. What's your idea here?
I'm thinking to lower this one, set it on the ground. I love dualies. I've had one for years. I've always lifted them.
You know, I just love a big 4-door dually with 6 28-inch wheels all the way around this thing, flat on the ground, with an addition of air suspension.
You know, I'm ready to shock people when they see this thing.
Yeah, I've never seen one of those sitting on the ground. Never even heard of anybody.
But, you know, to slam one.
JD, you're in the right spot for sure, man.
See, I'm excited.
How are you going to be using this thing? You're just going to be cruising around every day? You know, are you wanting a tow hitch?
You know, we want to take it to shows, you know, kind of represent our company. We're actually towing two other vehicles to SEMA with this truck.
And that's gonna be quite the sight, seeing that thing coming down the road, pulling into Las Vegas. It's definitely gonna be a showstopper.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So we need to incorporate a gooseneck hitch in to the framework and the suspension itself at the same time, so you can actually work this thing.
Yes.
Man, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. We'll be building new tubular control arms and a new huge 4-link for the back of this thing, and incorporating the gooseneck hitch in so you can tow whatever you want to on the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, as far as like the exterior of the truck, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I was thinking leave it all white, get rid of all the black trim, the black mirrors, do a color match.
That's the way the factory should have made these things.
I want it to be loud.
Now you're talking. This thing is already top of the line, everything in the interior, but we can definitely top of the line. This is going to be a sought after vehicle for people to look at SEMA show. When we pull it in on the lift, we know we're the first ones to cut up underneath this thing. That's a lot of work coming up, man, but we're going to make it happen for you.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it.
You know, we always like to push the envelope. You know, everybody's waiting to see what the newest project's going to roll out. This is just going to show everybody what the latest and greatest is. We put a lot of dualies on the frame. We put a lot of dualies, you know, close to the ground, but this thing is going to be completely flat body on the ground. You know, just putting a brand new dually on the ground is going to have 1,000 challenges, but I want to create something just, you know, one of one, something just totally unique that nobody's seen before and nobody's going to see again. Here. That customer just dropped this thing off. New dualies look good.
They look real good in my driveway.
We're going to put this one all the way on the ground.
So we don't need this no more, huh?
Yeah, probably not.
So frame on the ground.
Body on the ground.
Man, I always love when we put these dualies on the floor. They just look good. They look really good.
And not just that. Low.
Oh, no.
He has a couple other show cars that he wants to tow with this. So hauling 2 cars needs a gooseneck hitch in this thing too. You know, the only way to achieve that on this truck, you already know. Old frame's got to go completely out and build a new frame bumper to bumper. And just cut off all the factory suspension. So you just bare frame rails with nothing factory underneath this thing. And we just start fresh, building control arms, you know, 4-link suspension, and incorporating big airbags in place of the springs and the torsion bars that are on the front of this thing.
So is that all we're doing, or is there more surprising?
There's a couple more. We're going to upgrade the speakers inside this thing. But, you know, we can definitely do better. Put some speakers outside this thing to really make it way louder and have the speakers actuate out and up so it just projects the sound even more.
Low and loud.
That's it.
Sounds just like the infomercial, man. Well, wait, there's more.
You know, on the body, on the outside of the body, you know, it has the black accents around. We're going to pull those things off, slick them down, paint them all body color to really make this thing look finished.
You're adding a whole lot to the plate on this one.
Let's get to it. Now these new trucks are packed with electronics. So tear down is a huge job on top of what already is a huge job. You know, it's super, super important for John and Tim to keep track of everything and where it came from.
Hey, what did this plug into?
That yellow thing on that little cover.
Huh?
The bender?
Did you say column boot?
It's a bunch of wiring that's going to have to be modified.
We take all the wiring harness off the frame and relocate that onto the new chassis. And if one of them don't work, you're going to have problems. You know, taking a car apart, that's the easy part. Taking it apart with the thought that you got to know how to put it back together and you got to know what goes where, that's the task. The more thought you put into it when you take it apart, the easier it goes back together.
I would much rather work on an older car. You can eliminate that. Oh, I don't need that. I don't need this. New cars, you can't do that. For instance, one time, we were missing one little sensor on the back of a truck to work, such as AC, windows, radio.
Everything on here runs something. If you don't make a full circuit of that, half the stuff won't work.
You know, taking apart a new car is like taking apart a car and a computer at the same time.
These things will almost drive themselves, back themselves up, back a trailer up for you. But all that has to have a bunch of wires going through it to make it work.
I would still never trust that, though. I'd drive it myself.
We're going to put the truck on the rack. disconnecting the rest of the wiring on it. I don't want to disconnect like an airbag and the battery be hooked up and then airbags start going off. We're putting a 28-inch wheel in there, and the wheel is going to come up right to the top of this. Everything that's on top of the fender well here and on top of that side all has to be relocated.
Hey, Tim, how you want to do these brake lines?
Let's just get it out of there first. And the old trucks, you had to worry about fuel, spark. That's about it.
Where'd this go? Fuse? Box? The battery? Back.
Now, you don't plug this in, it ain't running right. You don't plug something else in, it throws a code, the truck goes in limp mode. We disconnected 857 things.
58.
858 things. We're about to finally lift this thing off the chassis. The motor's like 3 foot tall, 3 foot wide, with miles of just wiring, hoses, electrical, computers.
We got to fit all of that in a shoebox. We got your work cut out for you.
We.
Tim. There's only an I in Tim.
The owner of the 2020 Denali wants to drop this thing on the ground and still be able to haul all his other trucks. So like every other custom frame we built, we're going to make this to give him exactly what he wants.
Wow, look at how far the bed hangs down on the sucker.
There's a reason you don't see too many of them all in the ground.
That's it. You know, the center of our axle is pretty much going to be about right here. We're going to cut all this completely out and make room for that brand new frame, the big airbags, and the big custom hitch. I think we'll probably make this chassis out of 3x5x4 rectangle tubing. So this thing is super, super strong. So it can haul the weight he's planning on hauling with this thing. Let's get that measurement, you know, the wheelbase. That is 142 3/4. And then from the wheelbase back to the back of the frame, 40 1/4. Man, this thing's gonna be long. Now that we have a sketch, I asked Tim to lay out this super long frame with my template. And then he can cut it out.
You know, with this thing standing up, you really start to get the scope of how big this thing is.
We're looking for a frame that's as straight as possible. These have to be exactly parallel with each other, because if that's not right, when you go to do all your suspension and get measurements off the chassis, if the chassis is off a little bit, all your suspension is going to be off a little bit.
We're 1/8 inch off.
That's not right, nothing else comes out right.
You know, I'm all about helping someone. So when the Diesel family asked to borrow the toter, I can't say no. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Bill?
How you doing, bro?
What's happening, man?
This thing help you out?
Oh, yeah, big time, man.
Let's get this thing backed up. Get it.
We need you to look at.
I see the way they're looking. They're definitely up to something.
Yeah, we got a big surprise for Bill.
I think he's gonna love it.
You guys brought your Pro Mod? Man, what you want me to do with the Pro Mod?
Man, we knew you were the only person we let touch this thing.
Well, shoot, man, let's get it out. Let's see what you got going on.
Let's do
All
it.
right, let's do it.
This thing's cool, man. It's a weird sound for a Pro Mod.
It's definitely one of a kind, man.
Right. This 57 Chevy Bel Air Pro Mod races in one of the fastest classes in drag racing. You know, it's pretty rare to see one running on a diesel engine like this one.
Originally, this car was Doug Winters. He raced that car all over the country for years and won many championships with it.
Yeah, we had the idea, was like, what would be the coolest thing ever? Saw this thing for sale, threw the Cummins in there, approximately 3,000 horsepower. I mean, killer setup. Just needs a little bit of TLC on the outside. This thing would be perfect, dude.
Yes, he will.
Man, you know, we don't normally work on race cars or build race cars here, but what are you guys thinking?
Well, you can tell we got quite a bit of body damage. And my thoughts were, get the engine in it, get it lined out, get it running good before we spend the money on making it look pretty in case we had an accident or something.
It looks like it's already been an accident. We want you looking good at the racetrack, man, for sure. So what we'll do, go through getting these gaps lined up and making this thing look presentable. The hood of that thing, man, is rough, huh?
It had a blown Hemi in it whenever we bought the car.
Yeah.
And that's why all that's cut out.
In this case, I'll make an exception for a cow hood. This is the only time I'm going to make this exception.
We don't have the room to not have that. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not an option.
I think we need to update the wrap on it. I mean, it takes them back to the late 90s. It's like, dude.
Man, it was cool back then.
I mean, back then, yeah.
So you want to change it up, make it your own,
Make it our own.
and bring it up to date.
Yes, sir.
Let's check out under the hood of this thing.
Let's do it, man.
Man, you can't be having that.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, man.
Come on, guys. I mean, everybody wants to see what's under the hood of this thing because it's making such a crazy noise, and you definitely don't want them looking at that.
I know, man. That's what I was thinking. We redo that exhaust, make it a lot easier for us to get in and out of the trailer.
Definitely, we got to get you hooked up with that, man.
So, Bill, you think you can handle all this?
Man, Tommy, I can definitely do that, but I've always wanted to do a big smoky burnout one of these things. Man, this old diesel do that?
Oh, yeah. But you want to do it right here, right now.
Yeah. Let's take
do
it
it.
out.
He's moved out of the way because we know when Bill gets in there, you know, they don't call him Wild Bill for no reason. I mean, this guy just cuts loose and everything. Get it up to 2,000 RPMs and hold it for 8 or 10 seconds. I gotta make sure he doesn't try to cut a donut in this one because, I mean, that might get out of hand.
This can go straight.
Hopefully it does. That's what we want.
Hell yeah. Man, that thing's got some power, man.
I know, man, right at 3,000 horsepower.
That's crazy,
I'm
man.
telling
That diesel runs good.
Did he get it?
When we're all done with this thing, I get to drive it down the track now, right?
Yeah, man,
why
why not? We can let him make a pass or
Man, I
two.
appreciate that. Well, you already know, man. We'll get you hooked up with this, man.
Can't wait to see what you do with it.
Can't
Thank
wait.
you, bro.
Looking closer at this car, man, it's hurt. It definitely needs some help. I can see why it's here, and we're going to help them. You know, the one-way diesel guys, the whole family, I love them. They're down for whatever I need help with. They're 100% down. And, of course, if they need some help with something, I'm 100% down. You know, I'm of expertise, but as metal work, welding, design work, that definitely is in our expertise.
Now, what is this thing doing here?
You don't see a Pro Mod too often in the shop, right?
Oh, ever.
You definitely don't see one with the diesel in it.
Yeah, I noticed down the side of this thing's got black soot all the way down the side.
Right. And it's just old and tired, and it needs our help.
So I wanted to look as good as it runs.
Absolutely, man. As soon as you run this thing down the track, they come back to the pits, pull the front end off. People are going to want to know, hey, what's making all that black smoke? Let's see, man, this thing runs good. Sounds crazy.
That's what they see first?
They can't have that. We'll have Justin build a new exhaust system, something, you know, they can be proud of.
Yeah, you see Pro Mods all day long. You see the one at the track that's a diesel, they're gonna want to come see what was in it.
Exactly. They can definitely be proud when they're in the pits with the front end off now instead of trying to stand in front of it and block it. You know, after we get the body all straight and smooth, we got to design something that's really, really unique, eye-catching, and it promotes your business. So what I want to do is peel off all the wrap and touch up all the body work, make this thing look really, really good, you know, nice and straight. And there's body pieces missing that we have to fabricate. I mean, you see the hood.
Looks like that hood's been through a couple different motors.
Yeah, the time putting a cow hood on something, you know, this is the exception.
You gonna drive it?
Hell yeah. You know, this is the first Pro Mod race car we worked on, and man, I love new challenges, and it keeps us fresh. To kick off this build, Justin's going to replace this old exhaust with something way, way cooler and works a lot better.
First step is going to be to remove the downpipe. You can see it looks like it had an exhaust leak out of the side right here pretty bad, and the reason for that is because that flange wasn't able to mate to the back of the turbo like it should. And from that point, we're going to see what's the best way to cut this flange off, because we're going to have to reuse this outlet flange. And then from there, we're going to take our new pie cuts that we have and basically build a 90-degree bend out of that. So with us adding the flex joints in there, it's going to allow this to pull flat against the back of the turbo and get a good seal. You can see right here where a lot of the black soot is. They had a lot of weld buildup. it was probably pretty difficult to make this weld, which was some of the problem. They tried to get in there with a grinder to get the clamp around it, but it wasn't enough to get a good seal. Plus, the amount of added heat that they put due to the weld caused the flange to warp because of how thin it is. So this table is a flat surface. So now that we have this flange 16th on each side, and that's one of the reasons why you were getting all that smoke blown out of the side.
It's no secret, I think some of the old ways are the best ways. I just bought this big old lathe that's probably about 100 years old, and it's just in time. The old exhaust system on this diesel Pro Mod race car had a leak. So Justin's going to use the lathe to machine a new seal for the exhaust.
So what we're going to do is try to true this up, make it where we have a nice flat finish again before we start welding on it. You see machine marks all the way around the flange. That way we know that it's parallel to our chuck. We know that our chuck is flat. Once we flip this flange, these two faces will be parallel with each other. Well, you can see the gap in it now. Things like a potato chip. So if I stop it, you'll probably see the two marks 180 out from each other. What we're looking for is a clean finish like we have here and 180 out. We want the same thing, 360 degrees, so that we know that we got a full flat surface. Now you can see the difference. We know that it's flat now. Since this flange was originally smaller and they stuck a larger pipe on it, you have a separation between the two materials. So I'm going to weld on the inside to tie it in, and I'm also going to weld on the outside to tie it in before I put my 5-inch pipe over it. So I know it looks like a lot of time and effort is going into this little piece, but this right here is the foundation for what we're building off of, so it needs to be right. Now that we got this piece welded up with all the holes fixed in it, we're gonna go ahead and tack this top ring on there, get it attached back to the turbocharger. So we're gonna need 10 of these put together to get our 90-degree bend. But we need to get it to clear this tire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack another 5 pieces together. That'll put us at a 45-degree pitch to get it to come out this way. We'll do a straight run of pipe and then another 45 to get it straight at the bottom, and then from there we'll come out of our fender. When you're making pipes like this, it's a lot of figuring out. You kind of just start putting pieces together and kind of see how it works and then go from there. Right now I'm liking how it looks.
Like dually, we're making one of the longest frames we ever made. So every quarter inch is really going to matter. Because in the end, we have to fit the engine, the wiring, all the computers back under the body. And now there's about to be even less room than what we started with.
What we're going to do now is center this axle in between the frame rails, front and back, exactly what we needed, so we can begin the mock-up process of the 4-link bars. The challenge here is we don't have a whole lot of wiggle room. It may seem simpler because it's a bigger truck, you think you'd have more room, but you gotta remember it's a dually. Our outside of the fenders of the bed had to be narrowed, I think it was 7 inches, so that brings the frame in a lot more. So we're very limited on space we could work with to build our heavy-duty 4-link for this big truck.
I'm bending the DOM to make a cross member that'll clear the extra large drive shaft. And that's what's going to hold the front of the 4-link bars. The truck's so long and it's going to carry so much weight, we wanted to make something kick back just to give it a little bit extra support and extra strength. So all that tube work is not only going to look good, but it's also going to function. So we want to make sure nothing moves at all. Because it is pulling a spaceship, pulling a battleship, pulling whatever else. So they all want to be able to tow the most they can tow. For this guy to be able to put a gooseneck trailer on it, go wherever he wants, whenever he wants, and tow all 3 cars.
What we got here is one of our 4-link bars set up with the axle tabs, frame tabs. What we're going to do is set this up on the chassis and on the axle. Get these tabs tacked in place. Something like that. Typically, we would put a bolt here, bolt a nut, hold these 2 tabs onto this heim, set it on the bar, tack it in place. But we're gonna put a bar straight through both ends. That way we know these tabs will set perfectly in sync with each other.
John just wanted to say in sync.
That way, when you look at it from a distance, one won't look a little twisted than the other. You know, they'll all look symmetrical. And that's what we want, symmetry.
Starting to come together. Now the rear end fastened to the frame with the 4-link system. This is the bottom mount. We're gonna make support off the rear end of this, and this is what all the rear of the truck rides on. But we're not gonna use it as a flat piece of flat bar. We're gonna carry the pipe tube work, the theme through the whole truck. And for the weight this guy's gonna be pulling, and the durability, and everything that truck needs to do, we just felt better making a connecting back bracket from side to side. It's gonna be super strong. And right now it's kind of ugly. When it all gets welded together, it's gonna look.
What's up, buddy? So you're the new shop dog, huh? You can come hang out in the trim shop anytime you want, buddy.
You usually know right away if a dog's a really good fit for the shop. And man, he's turned out to be one of the best shop dogs we've ever had. Come on. Ever since Cleve has came onto the shop property, he's kind of acted like he run the place in the nicest way possible. But of course, my kids love him too, so we'll see how long it takes before he's at home permanently. Happy to be out of that pound. You know, you can always buy a dog, but around here, we like to give a deserving dog a new chance. To be a show and go truck. Not only he wants to win trophies, but he wants it to tow his other vehicles. So we're going to build an extra strong gooseneck hitch.
This is gonna be a support that's holding the whole trailer up. You know, we want to do something too to continue the pipe work through here. So we're gonna have a gooseneck ball, and then I'll start building the supports that go out to it. You know, even though we're making a show truck out of this truck, it's still gonna be a working truck. So everything we build here has to be stronger than from the factory.
That looks really good like this as is, but since we're gonna put a lot of weight on this part, which is gonna be the gooseneck hitch, I need a little bit more support just to be safe.
When this gets welded, they get welded all around, almost make like a second gusset. You're for sure not gonna be able to bend this thing with tongue weight because everything faces down, and you have to collapse it all down at one time.
Well, I reckon them some pretty nice looking welds.
Man, we're finally at the stage where this massive chassis can go back underneath that dually. It looks cool knowing that all this started with just some flat rectangular tubing and a bunch of... Just set it down.
Man, this right here looks very strong. Very rigid. It definitely ain't gonna budge. You and John did a fantastic job on this. Justin's almost done with the custom exhaust for the Diesel Pro Mod. Now he's just tying everything together.
We're going to go ahead and build a detachable piece that comes out the fender. The purpose of this V-band assembly that we're going to run is while they're trying to load them up in the trailer, you got this big pipe sticking far out and it doesn't allow enough clearance. So with the V-band, it'll allow him to remove the exhaust off the side of the car before he loads it up so it's not sticking out the side. So instead of leaving this pipe hole where it's going to throw all the exhaust gases out on the side of the car and get all the black soot on it, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it up in here, and it's almost going to be like a teardrop shape by the time we get it finished cut. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up with a grinder for a little bit before I put it on the car. File is more of a real sharp, defined edge all the way around it and like kind of true it up a little bit. Now, not only does it look better, it'll perform the weight of the car on. It's going to come to about right here. They'll be able to reach into the fender, take this clamp loose, and remove this tip off before they load it in the trailer to make it easier for transport.
Before we can start on the body work on the Diesel Pro Mod, the old wrap has to go.
So we gotta come in here, we gotta heat it up nice and evenly. Can't heat it up too much, it'll mess up the fiberglass, it'll warp it. As you heat it and you pull it, it'll start stretching. If you don't take your time, you can peel that fiberglass and it just creates a lot of body work for the guy. I never know what you're gonna find when you start pulling off some old wraps from the 80s, 90s. People did things a little different back then. Such as right here, there's a big massive hole no one would ever even know about. But if we ever got a race car in like this that didn't have the problems, the owner's not driving hard enough. They're not out there doing what it's made to do. It's not a trailer queen, it's a race car.
Honestly, I just really take my time and make sure every little nook and cranny and crease has been peeled away and cleaned. I put up with those two all day, every day, so I definitely have to have patience.
It needs to be cleaned up a little bit, and the guys can get on the body work here at the shop, and we'll come in, we'll put the new wrap on it, and we'll make it look real sharp.
Justin's almost done with the custom exhaust on the Diesel Pro Mod. He's replacing the old steel pipe with a lighter, way cooler stainless pipe, all tigged up.
Now that we got our new stainless downpipe bolted up with our recirculation lines tied in, we're going to go ahead and replace this charge pipe. We're going to start from this nitrous plate all the way over to the plenum. This is a lot more than cosmetic. We're going to have a weight savings going from a steel tube to our now aluminum tube. And when it comes to racing, anywhere you can save weight is a big deal. So one of the key things with having a good weld is being comfortable while you're welding. That's why we come to the table. We're going to get a fresh pair of gloves, we're going to clean our wire, and then we're going to come back and drop some dimes. We're going to run the machine around 90 amps. One of the things with aluminum is that it's real thin and it absorbs the heat real fast. What we want to do is we're going to pulse with our foot pedal. So we're going to add some heat and back off some heat so that it has a cooling cycle in between so that we can add our wire, and that's how you get that dime effect versus a flat weld.
Edgar and the team, they can get right to body work.
As you can see, it's all chipped everywhere. The paint's ruined. So what we will have to do here is repair all these fiberglass cracks all the way around the body. Man, this thing is beat up, but it'll be looking right.
After we screw our cowl to our hood with fiberglass it to make it all one piece. So now I'm gonna spray some black on it on the inside to make it all nice and clean. Either way, when they take it off, it looks really nice. All right, that's ready to be wrapped.
I got my guys finishing up the wrap. And adding new tinted window glass.
Man, I'm looking pretty and going fast.
And this Pro Mod will finally look as good as it runs. After a lot of hard work, a late night or two, we're here at Houston Motorsports Park to give the old Diesel family their car back.
We are excited, man. Super, man. I cannot wait to see it.
What's up, fellas?
What's happening, Bill?
What's up, Bill?
You got good reason to be. Your Pro Mod was running good, but it definitely wasn't looking good.
I know, man. We were just getting made fun of in the pits. You know, when you roll up after winning a race and it looks like that, it's just... Like, did you really win at all? Exactly, you know? It's
We
wrong.
kind of won.
Yeah, I mean, we did, but we didn't.
It's been a labor of love. You know, we put our hearts and soul and a lot of money in it.
And blood.
To get it, and blood. Yeah, you don't get blood on it, it's not fixed right.
You ready to check it out?
I'm ready.
Man. Ready.
Right,
Let's do it. We're so excited to see this thing.
Let's see it.
Yeah. Dude! Oh my gosh, bro! Oh my god! Do you see that? Is that the same car, man?
Awesome. Awesome. Freaking big car. We got a race car.
Man, I love it, man.
Oh my God, dude.
That thing is perfect. That's beautiful, man.
It looks like a brand new car, huh?
This is what I envisioned. When we got this car, I told them I want charcoal gray, black chrome.
It's very intimidating now.
That's what we needed. We need to make a statement. You got the Bel Air theme in there? Yeah. The color scheme's perfect. Oh, I know. Exactly what we wanted.
Freaking beautiful.
Right.
You know, the old wrap, it was definitely coming off anyway. I guess you guys were fast on the track because half of it was peeling off before you got it.
The guys behind us didn't care for that too much.
Spider Wraps guys came over and peeled off his gouges, parts missing. Body shop guys did their thing, made it all nice and straight, filled in the holes.
Probably like 10 times more aerodynamic now, too.
Yeah, we don't have all the holes in the hood.
Yeah, no.
It's like, what, I don't even know what to do with my hands.
You know, I make an exception this time on the cow hood, right?
Yeah, you don't like it.
Yeah. A race car is a little different.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all molded in now, so it's not
So clean,
anywhere. You don't have big holes all in the front end.
Thank you.
Make it look good, right?
That helps us out a little bit.
Especially at high speed, you kind of want that secured on there.
When we got it up in the air, we pulled the wheels off, powder coated them, tied everything together. New glass in it, all tinted glass, so it just looks mean.
Those extra touches just take this car to the next level, Bill. Yeah, we love that.
And this has always been my dream, to put a Cummins in a 57 Chevrolet. To have that iconic car with a diesel in it that we can incorporate, our business, have fun with, and stay classy. I mean, it does have attitude to it.
It got a lot of attitude.
If people look at this car, they'll know it's a 57 Chevrolet.
When you pull up to the starting line, people are just going to already be nervous just by looking at this thing.
And they're going to know immediately that they're going to get second place that day.
This family's been working their butts off for quite some time, and I'm proud to say they have the full package now.
Oh my gosh, check it out, man. They did, it's perfect.
Awesome.
And the aluminum's a lot lighter, so any way we can save, it's perfect.
Justin is the man when it comes to something like this, and he got down on it.
Those pie cuts and those welds are just beautiful.
All stainless, 5-inch pipe. That's 15 inches of weld all the way around this, every pie cut. So there's 29 feet of weld.
That's crazy, man.
That took some time.
Yeah, that's a ton of work, but you see the result.
It's worth it.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
And he's got a lot cleaner bends and radius, so the CFM from the turbo is going to flow way better.
It's going to help us keep it nice and sealed and not have any boost leaks either.
Yeah.
While Justin was building everything, he put a V-clamp right at the end so you can take that rod off.
It's brilliant.
Definitely make life
Smart, tripping over it.
Beautiful.
That's definitely it's an art piece.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
We can't thank you enough. You and the guys knocked this out of the park.
Well, actually, you can thank me. You told me something when you dropped this off, right?
Yeah, I did.
There's a reason why we're at Houston Motorsports Park, right?
I kind of put two and two together.
A little drag strip right over here,
I did say you could drive it, man.
All right, well, I'm ready. You ready? Your car ready?
She's always ready.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
A lot of people have been asking, where's Mr. Blue Dog? Man, he hit the dog. He's got his own bed, his own bedroom, his own toys. He's like a kid that came from nothing, graduated college, and now he's the CEO of his own company. Right, little buddy. Blue comes to shop every once in a while now just to hang out. I'll bring him up here a couple of days, maybe a couple times a month, let him hang out. But for the most part, he hangs out by the pool on the swing out back. And when I get home, he just wants to hang out and cuddle. It's just like anything. They say that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, same with a dog. If you have room at your house, you'll never have a bad day at your house. Here over the last 5 or 6 years, it seems like when a shop dog does show up, he'll get attached to somebody. If you adopt these guys instead of shopping, they didn't ask to get put in the pound. They don't ask to get overbred like that. If you can adopt one of these guys, man, your life will be so much better and they're full of joy.
As good as a diesel Pro Mod looks, a performance vehicle like this is measured in speed. And the Wells family is nice enough to let me make a run down the track with it.
Man, are you ready for this?
I was born ready.
And I know you can drive. I'm just saying. This.
We're about to see, huh?
That's what I'm worried about. I was actually expecting him to be really kind of scary.
Did everybody explain to him this car goes straight? He's not supposed to do donuts, right?
Don't be all mad when time's quicker than yours.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's check this thing out. Getting behind the wheel of a Pro Mod isn't just turning the key and hitting the gas. There's a lot of things that go in with that.
We're going to put it in first gear. You want to see about 900 degrees before you floor it. Then we're going to start creeping up in the throttle. And once I see about 10, you can mat it. Boom! And then once we see the trees start dropping, as the last light comes on, go ahead and let off the brake. Typically, you're perfect. When you're ready. see this, man.
Come on now, Bill.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess
There
we'll
you
let it
go,
on.
man.
All right. Come on, Bill.
Come
Keep
on,
it straight,
Bill.
man.
Come on, Bill.
Let him on.
You know, that was really, really fun. I can definitely see the addiction in this. Already want to go again.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Good job,
that was
bro.
awesome, man.
What a pass.
Good
What you
job.
think, man?
Good
That
job.
was awesome.
One way
How about that? We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it.
How'd it feel, bro?
Man, that was cool. I'm really, really impressed with the diesel engine doing what it did, man, for sure.
They're pretty fun, huh?
It's definitely adrenaline rush, man, for sure.
Absolutely, man. We really appreciate everything you did for us on this car. It looks absolutely killer. It's insane.
I mean, it's perfect.
It really is.
So we can't thank the guys at Extensive enough for this, and
It's literally a dream come true.
it is a dream for us, man.
You know, that's what it's all about for sure, right?
That's right,
Sir.
man. Family and going fast.
And looking good.
And looking good now. Thanks to you. I appreciate it, bro.
Man, appreciate you guys.
All right.
Look what I got, Timmy.
Tim and John are almost done with the rear suspension on the 2020 Denali Dually.
What we have now is the front crossmember for the dually chassis. This is where the motor is going to sit. If we can connect the chassis to this front crossmember and connect the crossmember to the front core support, finally, this frame will be complete, and then we can move on.
Now that we got the strong foundation, we can drop in that big old Duramax diesel. We've been at this thing for a couple of months already, and we still have to make room for the big old notch and those big old wheels. Finish the front suspension. You know, on the older truck, making a frame this big would be the hardest part. But on a new truck like this, we're really just getting started.
This is gonna be a real tight fit.
Fitting a watermelon in an egg carton.
I wish it was that easy.
We're months into making this 2020 Denali one of the first ever body drop in the world.
And you know as well as I know, everything's in the way.
I'm about to cut $10,000 off this truck. Oh, you didn't just bring more wiring over here.
Size-wise, this 2019 Polaris is a small vehicle for us, but it's got some big issues.
Heck, having this thing.
Man, this thing was in a tornado. Anything we can do to help you, man, and help your granddaughter, you know we're in.
If this ain't hooked up correctly, nothing's gonna work.
Oh, no way!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16, and ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. Yeah. You know what better way to have a little family bonding than having your kids help you cut up a car? And before I send this thing off to get scrapped, I figured I'd give my kids a little lesson on how to use some tools and cut some metal.
I never really use like tools like this. I mean, it's not that bad except for it's just like, you know, pumping my arms out, but that's all right. It's a good workout, and I really like working out, so I guess it's fine.
Couple little more pieces, the whole roof's gonna be off. Go out on your side. Yep. What do you think?
Heck,
First convertible? Yes.
it's a good family day. We cut up the car, and so now we're just gonna have some fun.
Test it out.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Cleve at? Cleve! Come on! Come on! You know, I can't really tell you personally how many donuts I've done in this parking lot. You know, maybe 1 million or so. You know, but this is Cleve's first, and he seemed really happy to be here. stage like this, it finally feels like this thing's coming together. You know, after being so long just a cab on the lift, feels like we're getting some things done.
It's been a lot of hard work.
You got that right. I mean, just getting this thing apart's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
We're months into making this 2020 Denali 3500, one of the first ever body drop in the world. The owner wants to haul some of his other show cars with it to SEMA. So we had to put more engineering into this thing to make it perform even better than he wants. With a body back on the frame, it looks like we're almost done. But I can tell you, we're a long ways away.
Oh, Lord, what are you guys trying to pull a house or something? That's serious.
Damn right it is. I mean, this transfers all the weight from a trailer. Sometimes it could be 20, 30,000 pounds of stopping and starting. Goes to this right here.
So we can put a house on there.
Absolutely. Just from the start of this, get it on the lift and tearing it apart was a major job. You know, laying the chassis out, building the chassis on the table, getting the frame underneath this, you know, rear suspension, just to get to this stage is huge amount of labor.
I know.
This is not just double work or triple work. It's not even quadruple. What's after quadruple?
A lot.
The finishing work on a build like this is always the hardest part. It's a huge build, but the small details, they take a lot of time. Now that we got the foundation, we can build the front suspension and huge wheel tubs that tuck those big old 28-inch wheels. Color match the frame and plastics, create a fully articulating speaker system in the bed, and finding space to put everything back together under the body. And that's rewiring, reconnecting, rebuilding, making this truck 100% brand new again, just like it is. We got a lot of work done, but there's still a whole lot of work to do and a whole lot of parts to order. So let's get to it.
Let's get it.
This stage of the build, it's all about making room underneath the body to cram everything back in. So Tim and John are getting started to making room for these big old wheels.
The name of the game is bigger the wheels, the lower to the ground. And you know as well as I know.
Most important thing,
the brakes.
The brake system.
We're not going to cut the factory fender tabs off. We're going to use those to line everything back up. That way it'll look factory from the outside, and it'll keep all the factory gaps exactly the same. We're going to build back a support with some DOM. We need something that's going to keep all these tabs 100% where they're at and keep this where it's at. Because then the fender will bolt right back up here, and all this will gap back perfect. The hood will shut perfect. Everything will stay right.
You know, I've seen a lot of custom builds where they made something look good, but later on down the road, it just didn't hold up. Yeah, so we got to fit it down, huh? We got to have form and function, stability. What good is a cool car if you can't drive it down the road safely? Pretty damn good.
That's going to work. That clears the hinge, clears the hood, supports that.
Clears a gas shock too, so we don't have to mess with that.
I think everything's going to be perfect.
I'm holding the fender tabs right to the support to keep everything in line. Now we got our new support in there. We can remove all of this to get our new big wheel in there. There you go. Starting to see this thing getting put together and starting to look like a whole truck again.
You see the door gap, it all lines back up perfect. I don't even have to sit there and try to make the fender mounts.
Yep, and it's looking real good.
While Tim and John are making good progress on the 2020 Denali's front end, I'm going to get started making articulating speaker brackets for the bed. You know, just having a drop dually, big wheels all the way on the ground just isn't enough. You just got to have that little bit more. So we're going to make a speaker bracket that mounts 4 speakers in the bed and articulates up. So when he's parked, he can actually raise it up and the sound projects over the bed and out to everywhere. I took a couple of quick measurements off the bed with the bed cover, with the wheel wells, and made a quick drawing on the table so I know exactly what kind of room we have to work with, and we'll come up with some kind of mount that's going to be cool. Just a lot of figuring out to do. You know, there's a lot of pivot points, a lot of measuring. We'll see what happens. We need to make one a little shorter to maybe kick it up a little bit or kick it down a little bit. You can play with all those little angles, all those little pivot points to make the speaker do whatever you want to with it. So once we make them act right, we can duplicate that in bars and pipe and bushings.
Man, that's something to start out, but having some articulation like this, where it actually moves and it's got function to it, man, that's that next step.
I'm using the measurements from the rods and bolts to make the final articulating arms for the speakers.
So I have something like that.
I want these things quick, so Max and Jesse are going to weld these things out, all while me and Jamie are going to make the frame to hold all these mounts to the bed.
You know, it's one thing to lay it out on the table and make little bitty mounts and get it in your head, okay, it's going to work. But when you actually convert that over to the bracketry and drill holes and spend time in making all the pivot points right, the little bars right, you put it all together, you know, there is some question there if it's really going to work. So right now we're going to put it together and actually see if it's going to do what we need to do.
You just have that in your head, just popped it out.
I mean, figure it out until it works. See what works. Speaker about here, you know, facing out, then coming out over the bed. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like really cool.
We finished fabric, gonna make room for it in the bed.
All right, now we're to the point we need to put this bed on the new frame. But as you can see, the notch of the frame and the gooseneck hitch is gonna stick through the bed. So what I'm gonna do right now is just cut a hole out in this bed floor so I can get it on there, and then we'll go back and figure out how we're gonna fill this back in. When this truck's laid out all the way on the ground, you'll be able to walk up, look in the bed, and the gooseneck hitch and the bag mounts are gonna show through the bed floor. And you get to appreciate all the work that went into this frame, which for me is a nice change, because a lot of times we'll do all this and it simply gets covered up. All right, now we have a hole.
I'm about to cut $10,000 off this truck. We gotta remove all this, because once that truck lays down on the floor, we need room for that big tire to reach all the way up here. Now we get all this out the way, now we got plenty of room for these big wheels and tires.
Which means it's got 4 wheels in the back. So that means we need to make even larger wheel tubs in the bed to fit those 28-inch tires.
This is how we roll our sheet metal to get the same radius as our wheel tub. And we need a little bit more. Woo. So the tub has to be extra wide to accommodate both dually wheels on the back of this truck. So what we're gonna do is butt weld the new piece to the old piece, and what that is fitting them tightly together on edge and welding right along the crease. Just to let you know, welding around magnets sucks. These magnets hold the pieces of metal together while I weld, which is good, but because the welder uses a metal wire, that same magnet disrupts the arc connection. So it can be a little tricky. Welding is nearly impossible.
John officiated the marriage of these two pieces of metal. Relationships have ups and downs and bumps. So me, I'm a marriage counselor. I'm gonna smooth this out.
On fire today.
Things got a little smoky around here.
What's up, Doug?
Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man.
In the custom car business, it's always good to get those repeat customers. We worked on Doug's 48 GMC truck years ago. Good to see you, man. What are we doing with this thing?
Well, we're not doing anything to the truck. We're going to focus on the most important thing. That's my granddaughter's Polaris.
That?
This.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I know it don't look like a Polaris today, but it used to. Her house was hit by a tornado on Easter Sunday, an EF4 tornado in South Mississippi. They lost everything, destroyed the house, destroyed everything, lost all of her toys, clothes, and she lost her players. And this was the most important thing that she was looking for after the tornado. So we've got to get it fixed. The tornado hit my daughter's house with our 3 grandchildren, and it scared me and my wife to death. We were here in Houston. She called us right before it happened, and then it was 15, 20 minutes before she called us back and told us they were okay. Very scary moment. When everything was done, and this was the first thing she went to looking for, and it was 250 yards away, and you can tell that it may have barrel rolled once. So that's why this Polaris is so important.
You know, we customized a lot of vehicles in all different stages of the customization, but never one that's been through a tornado. I don't know if there's really much hope for this thing, but we're definitely going to see what we can do. I think the first thing we need to do is actually get this thing down and really see what we got to do. You know, get that frame back straight. I know there's probably going to be some frame issues, and put new plastics on it, make sure that all bolts back together right. And I think instead of just bolting the factory cage back on, just build something cool for her. Make it so she's, you know, not only looking cool, but safe also.
Absolutely. She loves this thing, and whatever you do is going to make it that much better, Bill.
Yeah, this thing's going to be cool. You know, this isn't a normal project we do around here. You know, but being so close to the Gulf, we know all about what those storms can do. Anything we can do to help you, man, and help your granddaughter, you know we're in.
Man, I appreciate you, Bill. That's why I come to see you.
You know, a job like this is what I would normally turn away. But, you know, when an old friend brings it in and it has such a heartwarming story, you don't have any choice but to help out. Looking at this after it's been in a storm the way it has, and just seeing the steel being mangled and rolled over, but it just shows you how much power the wind has. Then I'm just happy no one was hurt in that. I'm going to pull this into the shop, and everybody's going to go, what are you doing? What's this here for? But once they hear the story and they hear who it's for, I know they're going to be all in. By the time we get a small project, right?
The heck happened to this thing? It looks like somebody jumped it.
Man, this thing was in a tornado. The wind did this. Chunked this thing a quarter mile. You know, it's Doug's granddaughter. She just cherished this thing. This was her favorite thing to have, right? And they lost their house. They lost everything. So we need to bring this thing back to life. What I want to do is get it in the shop so we got a nice level surface. Let's take off all the plastics and, you know, skirting on this thing to see what's bent and what's straight.
Yeah, I'm sure once you get all this off, all kind of stuff's going to be...
Yeah, I'm definitely afraid of that, but it ain't something we can't handle for sure. Now, once we get everything back straight, I want to go back with new plastics, bumpers, front and rear. And we'll probably wrap the new plastics too to not have the
everybody else look.
Exactly. If we're going to do it, we might as well make it special for it. We'll put doors on this thing, to get rid of that. It's not as safe as doors on this thing. We'll top it off with some lighting, and she had speakers underneath there, but we'll add some cool ones to it. Once we get all the bottom of this thing all nice and straight, we'll go back with a custom cage, just a one-off, and we'll make the roof a little longer, stronger, meaner, and a lot cooler looking.
It's really cool to do this back for her and make it all back to something she really enjoyed. It's going to be better than Christmas for her.
Be nice to be a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Doug's definitely going to be Grandpa of the Year.
I might adopt him as my grandpa.
Keegan and Joey are going to tear this down so I can see what shape the chassis is in. Did you ever have one of these in here, kid?
Not something like this big, but maybe a little small, a little tiny 4x4.
A little small one?
Yeah, ride around every once in a while.
Good?
Yeah.
Good over there? Ready to go up. Tweak to the rear of the frame on the little side-by-side, so what I'm going to use is the porta-power here. It's basically a slender jack, so you put the little pieces together until it fits into place, put it in between the frame and the bent part of the frame, jack it up perfectly straight when I'm done. Double check the level real quick on that.
It's riding the line a little bit, but it's still in between the lines.
But we want it on the money.
Well, it's off. It needs to come up on this one.
This one? Up?
Yes. Come on up, right there.
You know, being thrown through the air like it was, this frame is in better shape than I thought it was going to be. Check it right here. But even small bends to it can have huge consequences.
It's kind of wobbly on that thing.
So our first step, we need to straighten it up.
Go up on it?
Yeah.
Go up, Mo. Up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on just a second. Let's get a long piece of tubing and stick right here. We went just a little too far, so we can give it a little tweak.
Okay.
You know, so we're jacking it up, push a little bit. So you got to push it up just past level, so when the tension releases, it comes back level, right? Well, we went just a little bit too far, so we're just going to take a big bar, twist that sucker again, and make it perfect. Man, do that one more time. I think you got it. Perfect. Size-wise, this 20, but because of the tornado literally threw it a quarter of a mile, it's got some big issues. You know, Jamie fixed the axles, we straightened the frame, so now we can put on new plastics and doors.
All right, Jamie, I think we're ready for the door, man.
Well, let's see what happens.
Trying to get the other door on.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Hey, Bill.
Huh?
Everything's in. Man, this is how much further than it's supposed to be.
To the center of that hole.
That one ain't in the same shape.
That's 32 and an 8. Yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's got a belly.
Typical job, you know, you thought was cut and dry. Okay, this is bent, let's fix it. Done. Everything should line up, right? Well, that's not the way it works. Start putting the doors on it, notice, whoa, this doors overlaps the body by an inch. So trying to just bend it back an inch is going to be pretty difficult.
Where do we even start to pull it?
Let's get this thing off of here, get it loaded up on the back of the wrecker.
Okay.
We'll strap it down and see if we can pull it with the winch.
Cool.
Tilt forward. We got the front and the back of the frame are still tweaked. So we're going to use the wrecker and the winch to stretch the body, all while keeping the integrity of the frame. And it's the only tool I can think of. We can pull it at multiple points at one time and still hold everything from the back, strap it down to the wrecker. So we'll see what happens. Here, come do this real quick. Let me look at it.
Okay. Ready?
I'll tell you when to stop. Just go as easy as you possibly can.
All right.
Okay, do it again. All right. Cut off. All right. You know, the wrecker and the winch definitely done its job. Door's got plenty of room now. We definitely tweaked it, moved it forward. You know, the next thing is getting everything back nice and level so it all lines up and everything will be on the money. On the other side of the shop, Tim and John are finishing up the extra large wheel tubs on that 2020 Denali.
Now we got a completed extended rear tub. Now I can get this place in the bed clamped with a straight edge across the top and get it tacked in place.
That fits nicely. I like it.
Place.
Now we can weld these things fully and get ready to move on to capping these edges and putting the bed back on the truck.
We have the tubs made here. Now we need to make the filler go down to here. Something to keep the dirt out of there, the mud, the water coming out all the way. This will really just enclose the wheels and is that strength and structure to the tub. So we're gonna tack it, when we come back and grind it, it'll all look like one piece, like it wasn't made out of three pieces. This whole tub will look like a one piece you just set in here.
Because the Denali needs to look like a show truck and perform like a work truck, we need to build a massive set of control arms to keep all that weight going straight down the road.
Building control arms for a bigger truck, you want to have a stronger arm than your typical square body or regular half-ton pickup truck. That's why we use thicker material, bigger, better ball joints to be able to accommodate not only the weight of the vehicle, but the weight that's actually attached to the back of it as well.
Go ahead and throw the wheel on. just to make sure when it pushes out, we're not hitting here. We clear everything. See what it looks like laid out too.
Yeah. The top of this bar is gonna rip messy. That represents our suspension being bottomed out completely, which in turn means the truck laid out all the way on the floor.
Man, you think it looks good in there? You gotta see it from out here. It ate up half that wheel, put it all the way in there. It looks good. It looks real good.
Does it look as good as me?
We sent the chassis off to powder coat. Now we can get to reconnecting, which is probably miles of wire, back into a space that's way more limited.
So when we first got started with this truck, hooking all of this, that was easy. Very easy. But going back and putting it all in, laying all the harnesses out, that's really, really not fun. Oh, you didn't just bring more wiring over here. I was starting to feel good until I seen you walk over with that. Was that heavy?
A little bit. Now I know why this is a 1 ton.
Needed a 1 ton just to hold up all the harness.
Yeah. You got this, buddy.
We'll have to get that box to fit through there.
We gotta get all these wires, all these sensors, everything plugged back. Almost everything works on a loop, where if this isn't connected, half the truck on that side won't work. If something's not connected, a little sensor in the back, this might not work, that might not work. So everything has to be plugged in just as it's factory, so the computer doesn't throw any codes or act like there's a problem anywhere.
Custom frame for the 2020 Denali is back from powder coat. The white is going to match perfect with the body.
Yeah, the powder makes a really, really nice coating on it, and it gets into every crack and crevice. From the raw steel, raw tubing, raw pipe, to this, it's come a long ways. It looks totally different once you get some color on it.
Definitely, looks real good.
The fact that it's color matched to the truck, it didn't look like you just took some frame and put anything. You know that frame goes to that truck on those wheels. Everything unloaded, everything's situated on the table. We can start assembling the frame, put the motor and transmission on it, roll it underneath the body and put the body down. It's gonna look good. The big billet wheels on it, going down the road.
Tornado damage on the 2019 Polaris. Now Jamie and I are gonna build a custom cage from scratch. You know, the tornado definitely threw this thing for many loops, but you know, we got this thing back where it needs to be. The next step is building the cage. So once the cage is built, tied into the framework of the little side-by-side, everything is going to be super strong and not bend or give. It's going to hold everything perfectly level and straight. So what I'm going to do first is just start bending some pipe up, get the angles right, and kind of step back and look at it, see what feels right, and just keep building upon that. Send it over here. Jump in for me, please. What I want to do is build a sporty custom cage. We obviously have to replace what's missing. So if we're going to do that, I want to make something, you know, a little bit lower profile, stretch it a little bit. Instead of just buying a new one online, you know, that's what we do. We build custom things. So not only, you know, put some safety back in it, some rigidity back in it, but put some custom coolness back in it too. I like the way how everything flows, man. It looks good, and it's super strong too. She's gonna be happy.
Definitely looks real good together.
My kids are gonna be so jealous.
Oh, we gotta build another one?
Man, it's come a long way since this little side-by-side was tossed by the tornado. Jamie's making a custom aluminum roof.
That bit's nice. We're happy with that.
And we had a custom wrap made for it. We're adding in a brand new stereo system and some light bars. I can't wait for Doug's granddaughter to see this thing now. So I'm really excited. You know, we finally got this project done. Today's the day we're going to give it back to some special little girl. You know, typically I would usually turn a project away like this, but you know, considering it's for Doug and what it means to Doug and his family, I can't not help out on this.
What's going on, Bill? Man, good to see you.
How you doing, man?
This is my granddaughter, McKinley.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I heard a lot about you. Grandpa's pretty proud of you.
That's right.
Your grandpa was telling me you were in a little scary little incident a while back. Tell me what happened.
There was a tornado.
You were in the tornado? Was that scary?
Yeah.
Man, I bet it was. Not only your house was totally gone, there was something you really loved was gone too, right? What was that?
My buggy.
The wind took it way far away?
Down to our pond.
In the pond? It was messed up bad, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Her buggy was only 6 months old, so I knew I had to bring it here to get it fixed. It meant a lot to her. Now it's time to see what Bill and the boys have done.
I tell you what, we got you fixed up. Grandpa got you fixed up. You ready to check it out?
Yeah.
I bet you are. I bet you ready to ride.
You ready to ride?
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
Let's see it. Holy cow, look at that, McKinley. Man, that is awesome, Bill. Look at that. What do you think?
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
Golly. Wow. Bill, that don't even look like the same buggy.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Man.
Last time you seen it was a little squished, huh?
Yeah. When the buggy came out, I was so excited to see it. Let's just say I was speechless.
Man, that thing looks great, Bill. Tell me what all y'all did.
Well, you seen the parts we had to work with, right?
Yeah, I did.
Once we put it on the lift, we started dismantling it. We really noticed the frame was hurt a lot more than originally thought.
Yeah.
The plastics and everything were hiding a lot of damage underneath there. It had to replace the rear axle, replaced all the plastics. So we put new bumpers on it. And of course, it didn't have...
What's that on the door?
A tornado.
A tornado?
Had Pixelworks come over and they custom wrapped it. They designed this wrap for you.
For you. You know how we know it's just for you? It's got Doodle on the door.
Hey, where'd you get the name Doodle?
Popsy gave it to me.
Popsy gave it to you? That's awesome.
Man, it looks great, Bill. It really does.
Build a whole new cage. We made all that in-house. Instead of buying, just a replacement, we made it a little bit shorter and a little bit more laid back. Give it a little more cool look, sleek look. Made a new roof for it, made it a little bit longer. We made it all out of aluminum. Went back with lighting, had to put the stereo back in it. And we put some little antennas on the back with lights in them.
That's all. What do you say?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Doug, I know this is special for you, and it's special for us.
Man, that's nice, isn't it?
Thank you for letting us be a part of this very special project. Over on the other side of the shop, the guys are making good progress on the rolling chassis. And now it's the moment of truth.
4 links to the axle, put the airbags up, and then we'll be able to run all the brake lines, the brake calipers, put the front wheels on, we can air it up and roll it out. But we have to put all the wiring on there, all the modules, the DEF, all that's going back on, so the whole thing will be hooked back up like it was factory. Now it's just the tedious part of just putting it all back together.
This 2020 Denali wants this low and loud. We got the low taken care of. Now to make it loud by finishing up the articulating speakers. I got the hard part done. I got the lifting part that's going to lift the speakers over the bed. The next step to all this is making it motorized. So I'm going to put an actuator on the back to lift this up. But I'm going to try to do it with just one actuator and trying to make it lift evenly. That's another little trick too. So once that's all set up, put 12 volts to it, it should lift these speakers right up over the bed. It's pretty dang close. The whole object of this whole bracketry is pushing a button and having the speakers come out of the bed. It's just a whole overall project, right? What I'm going to do is cut out a piece of 2x2 square tubing to make a bracket for the lower part of the actuator. Affix it to the whole bracket, push a button, and it lifts up. We got all our little pieces cut. We got everything mocked up. Next step's putting some power to it and see if this actually works. Everything we build, you have a general idea. Once you have the idea, then you start building plans. The main thing is just having the creativity of having the idea. That's a huge hurdle. Once you have that, it's just using your skills, using your tools, and just making it happen. Pretty cool.
Everything back from powder coat. We've got all the front suspension on, the rear suspension's on, brake lines are ran, fuel lines are ran. We're at the exciting point now. We can finally marry this cab to this chassis. It's like you do everything, and here's the keys to the new house. Now you can move in.
Is that in?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Just trying to line up here to line up this bolt with this hole. There, go straight down. It makes it much easier. Plus, the motor's so tight, the transmission's so tight that you don't have a lot of room side to side. Right? Ready?
Yeah.
So we put it down. It's a little bit too far off. We'll hit the body. We could hit a module. Could hit something else. So we're taking a little bit of time. Line this up. Drop the whole thing down, and everything should clear. How's the radiator look?
We're getting close.
Watch your fingers. We married the cab to the chassis. We're about to do the bed to the chassis. All right, we gotta watch this bar when we set this down. We can't scratch it. Down. Go forward, down. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Good job, guys.
And now you can see the bed on the truck. You can see all the notch coming through that's gonna hold the gooseneck. All that white shining through the black bed liner just stands out and pops really nice.
Now we got about 40% of the wiring done. This thing got so much electrical going on. It's about a full day of work just messing with wiring. This is the main fuse box to the whole vehicle. If this ain't hooked up correctly, it needs to be sent. Now, I should only go on one way. That little green thing pop up, that means it's connected and tight. The plug from the bottom is seated properly to the pins at the bottom of this fuse panel.
Man, we're at the final stages of getting this truck off the lift and on the ground. Seems like we've been doing wiring for 4 days now.
I'm so sick of seeing wires. Most of them are plugged in. Only a few left that are really giving me a hard time. There is just a ton of wiring and connectors that gotta get crammed in the areas and tied down. Oh man, so much stuff.
On big builds like this, it's super satisfying to see it all come together at the end. 28-inch wheels, speakers attached to articulating arms in the bed. We're ready to show this to the world.
I don't know about you guys, but I've been here 7 years now.
I've been here 7 years also.
Oh yeah, sure have, huh?
This year will be 12 years.
That's 12 too many.
You know, it's like anything, when you start here, Bill has his own way of doing it, and then you start seeing a new helper show up. He starts doing it some other way, and you're like, maybe the way Bill's going to want it.
Yeah, so you got to pass it on. Everything will roll along a lot smoother doing it the way we've done it.
It's definitely easier, that we work together so much that we already know how this other person works. I know what you're going to do, I know how you're going to do it, and I can pick up right where y'all left off.
We just practically became mind readers. We know what each other's we know what each other's doing and how to continue.
Pretty sure I spend more time here than home.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can guarantee you I've opened that gate and shut that gate more than Bill himself.
You're right about that.
The big day for the 2020 Denali is finally here. And JD drove all the way down from Kansas City to see what we've been up to.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Bill? Good to see you again.
Dang, good to see you, man. It's a great day, huh?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Great day to pick up a dually?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I heard you got a little car collection yourself.
Yeah, I do. I got quite a few lifted trucks, a few hot rods.
But never anything lowered.
Yeah, nothing slammed.
You know, what finally clicked and said, I gotta have a lowered dually?
I heard it was the world's first. I had to do it. Nothing better than a lowered dually. The reason why I wanted a lowered truck this time is just pulling up to shows, being able to slam it down to the ground, watch people's, response. Just something different than the lifted truck scene that's been going on the last few years.
I love lifted trucks, but, close to my heart is lowered trucks, and especially lowered dualies.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
You ready to check it out?
I am.
All right, come on, Timmy. Let's check it out.
Oh, no way. No way. Oh. Yeah, you guys knocked this out of the park. Yes. Yes. Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes. Hey, I wanted it low. You got it low for me. Yeah, that looks good. The white frame, color matched everything, sitting on the ground. This is beyond my expectations. I can't believe it.
What you think?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you guys did an amazing job. It's awesome.
Thank you, man. I mean, Timmy, John, they got down on this, as always. Well, how we had to start is picked it up on the lift and just started unbolting and unbolting and unbolting. Once that was all done, rolled it out and just got busy. Built the suspension, the air suspension on it, to building super strong control arms, to a big, heavy-duty four-link for the rear. I mean, this is one of the biggest, strongest frames we've ever built here. I mean, it is overkill.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what you want. That peace of mind when you're going down the road, you want to know that everything is 100% strong and built the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you guys did it. So it's absolutely amazing what these guys can do. Can take a brand new 2020 truck, take the old frame out and build a frame from scratch. I mean, I'm just absolutely blown away.
JD, what do you think about those wheels?
Yeah, I love them.
A 28-inch dually wheel on something that low, it just makes a huge, huge statement.
Yeah, the polish looks great on them. Engraved the Richline Motorsports in it. Perfect fit, too.
To finish it all off, you see everything's been color matched. Got rid of all the black plastic. We smoothed all that out, painted it body color. And, it just makes this truck look classy.
Yeah, it does. It's not too much chrome, not too much white. It just all flows together.
Let's check out under the hood.
Yeah, let's check it out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks good. I can't believe that you guys took all this out and got it back in. Right. And still made it look factory. Yeah, that's amazing.
Man, it was hard enough getting the motor up to the cowl, much less.
Yeah, I got the tubs in here, color match everything. I mean, it looks great.
I appreciate that. You think this is cool. I really got something to show you in the back.
Yeah, let's check it out. I'm excited to see it. Oh, yeah. God, that is crazy. You can see everything.
Right?
Got the gooseneck in here. That is amazing.
That isn't just something that just bolts into the bed. That is all made directly to the frame. It's artwork made into the framework itself.
Yeah, this should be able to pull anything that I need to pull.
Absolutely. Those huge airbags on there, just pick this big truck right off the ground with whatever weight you got on it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
You wanted some speakers in the back.
Yeah, I see that you guys added some speakers in here. Show me the other part.
Yeah, Timmy hit it. Down here in the bed's cool. It's going to make, a lot of noise, but check this out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Just one more thing. People are just going to go, what?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Not only, the look of the truck is going to draw people, when they hear this sound, it's just going to project for a mile away.
Yeah, that's awesome how it's got the actuator to bring it right up. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. This is a dream come true right here. Hey, you know what? Maybe next SEMA, I can find something a little bit harder for you guys.
JD, you threw us a tall order, but as you can see, we came through, and I can't wait for the world to see it at SEMA. Lincoln is it's iconic.
Man, we're gonna take all the 1964 off this car. We're gonna make everything modern.
450
135 horsepower Fury. I thought this thing was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap.
Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know. Then we're gonna chop it off. It's called a sling ray. It started as a Polaris slingshot with 3 wheels.
I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
No matter how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
Holy cow!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You might have noticed we had this 64 Lincoln sitting in the lot for quite some time. 4 or 5 years, I don't really know how many.
Well, numbers off this thing. I think I got this thing sold.
Really? Yeah. I've been wanting to hear that for quite a while. It's one of those things. I bought it for a build, and it just never happened. So it never left. Man, I was beginning to think this thing was going to be here forever.
Well, it might not be going too far. I think our buyer is gonna want us to build it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. It don't get any better than that, right? Make a little money on the sale, and then make a little money on the customization.
That is for sure.
These are always cool cars, man. I mean, the 64 Lincoln is just, it's iconic. Been itching to do some stuff to one of these for quite a while. There's so much you can do to these things. I mean, this thing's 20 feet long, and it's almost 20 feet wide.
20 feet of Fury, but it's more of a boat than it is a car.
You're right.
Maybe put some propellers on the back or something, take it around the lake.
Hey, before you get too far, man, let's make sure you get this thing sold.
I'm not making any promises, but I'm 100% going to sell this car today.
I like that confidence, man. Let's see what you got.
Let's do it.
Somebody just walking around Sunny Drive, these old cars might not look like much. You know, I wouldn't keep them all around if I didn't see the potential of what they could be. The whole trick is to find someone that wants that project. Once you have that, it's really satisfying to bring these old cars back to life.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hey, man, real good. Congratulations, you're the new owner of the 60.
Fantastic car. You know, ever since I rode in one about 25 years ago, wanted to get one of these, a nice convertible Lincoln Continental ever since.
The one you bought is a coupe. It still has the top on it. You know that, right?
Can you guys help me with that?
So you wanted to make this thing a convertible?
That would be sweet, yeah.
Man, we can definitely do that. That'd be real cool. Just chop the top off, weld all the seams up, and just make it a convertible all year round.
All year round, yep.
Where are you located?
I'm outside of Boston, so we'll have to make sure it's got some heat.
We can definitely do that. How far are we taking it?
If you guys could do your magic and make it something really, really custom, really sweet for me, I'd love to have a really nice street cruiser that goes fast and handles well.
Man, we definitely got you on that. First thing, put a modern engine in it with a lot of power, reliability, just something you can get in, hit the key, and haul butt with.
Oh, I love it.
We'll put it on air suspension, big brakes, big wheels and tires, make this Lincoln ride really good, handle really well, and you're gonna look cool doing it.
That sounds awesome.
Any preference toward any colors, anything like that?
To me, a Lincoln Continental, that vintage has always been black, and then in the interior, I think like a white.
Kind of like a junior mint.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Frank wants this full-time convertible, so one thing we're gonna focus a lot on is the interior. That's a really, really important thing on any car, but especially build you something just totally custom and totally unique and just make this a piece of art.
All right.
Well, Frank, man, I know exactly what you want, and we're gonna make this thing happen for you.
All right, perfect. Can't wait to see it.
Talk to you later. You know, this job's like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it's really good to get this thing out of the lot, get it sold, but, you know, the other hand, I know exactly how much work is going to have to go into this. Every job has its own set of challenges, no different. You know, I'm really nervous. One of the things you dread most on a car this old, been sitting for quite some time, is rust. I mean, rust destroys everything. I mean, it's a New Mexico car, nice and dry climate. It should be pretty solid, but once we blast it, we'll know for sure.
Max, there's a ton of Lincolns done them and what are we going to do that's going to be different?
It's not what we're doing, it's what aren't we doing? You know, I definitely got a couple concerns on this thing. First, you see the rust going through on the hood and trunk lid, right? That's definitely not going to bust. Looks pretty solid, but we won't know until we get it blasted. You know, next thing, engine out of this thing is going to have brand new power plant. Yeah. We want that Cody in here. Put the Ford engine with the Ford body. Very cool. You know, keep it all legit. As far as the interior, everything completely out. We're going to start fresh on that. We really want to focus on the interior too, because there's not going to be a top on it. Where is the top going? The top's going in the scrap bin. We're just totally roastering, cutting the roof completely off this thing, taking all the glass out and capping the doors and the deck lid. 100% no top all the time. That's awesome. You know we got to make this thing low to the ground. Get this thing on air suspension, get it all the way on the ground, freshen everything up. 24x8s in the front, 24x10s in the back, new brakes, ball joints, everything. Start 100% fresh.
Tell me we're going black.
You know, I totally agree with Frank. This car just needs to be black. Not just a normal black, not just a deep black. We're going to give it something that wakes it up a little bit. It's going to be cool. You know, the chrome just really makes this car. I mean, we definitely need to keep this on it.
I think it's mostly here.
Yeah, I think it's all here. Re-chrome the bumpers, grill. Man, it really stand out against that black. Awesome. First things first is getting some totally stripped.
We'll get some people. We'll get started.
I'm gonna go get a bunch of parts.
Ready? Ready? We'll take the trunk off and the lid off. I'll go get John, take all the interior out. Hey, we got the trunk out. So far, I'm pleasantly surprised. It didn't look as bad as I thought. When John gets the carpet out, it's going to be a telltale sign to see how the floor looks in this thing.
One of the challenges with these old cars is everything's stripped out, everything's rusted, nothing really wants to come apart, so a lot of times you just got to turn the bolts into liquid. Just stuck to the floor. It's still standing here. That's a plus.
Surprisingly, it looks really good. This floor could have been a whole lot worse. We're going to take all the 1964 off this car. We're going to make everything modern. Make everything handle better, drive better, stop better. So to do that, we need a clean slate. We're going to take all this old stuff, get it out of here. So now we get it blasted, it's going to be a fresh new start. We won't have to deal with 60 years of dirt, grease, grime. We can weld right to it, and we know it's ready to go. Can I go up? Up. Go.
Go down. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Whew. It was a lot of dirty work, but we finally got this thing all stripped down. The next big surprise is going to be when it comes back from blast.
Depending on how backed up the media blaster is, sometimes a project can take up to 2 weeks to come back. But other times, like in this case, it's the next day.
And it came back from blast. That side doesn't look as bad. I want you to look at this side. It looks a lot rougher than when it left. Especially, I don't know what's going on here. You're speechless?
Man, I thought this thing, you know, was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap, right?
The paint was all faded. You would think over time you'd start to see stuff coming back through it, but it was well hidden.
Man, very well. The other side looks decent. The floorboards look decent. Everything underneath looks good.
Yep. Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know. The roof looks really good. We're going to chop it off. Well, we got to do what we got to do now. We're already too deep in this thing to do anything about it, so we'll just replace the fender. Probably going to replace the quarter. Let's get it. You know, you always hate it when a car comes back from media blast and it's in worse shape from what you thought. The 1964 Lincoln is a lot worse. Luckily, Max sourced some old replacement panels. That way Jamie can get busy and get them replaced. This thing's
pretty much beyond repair. I mean, all the Swiss cheese down here, these ripples into the door jamb, and then we come to the front right here. This is pretty much the same story. It's too far gone. We don't want to put any metal like that back. So best thing to do, go ahead and cut this off, skin this with a new fender, send it back to the body shop. Let's get started. All these little indentions are spot tacks. I have to drill everyone out. So cue the time lapse. Spot tacks are just about out, so we'll go ahead and score a line right next to this door to make it easier to go ahead and get these leftover spot tacks out. Just a quick cut with a cutoff wheel, and we'll have this panel off. This was on another car a week ago. Just an old 64, 65 fender. I always like to use original parts instead of like a repop. The new metal is a little bit thinner, the old metal is a little bit thicker and stronger. On this panel, there's a chrome trim piece right here. If I don't clean even, you'll see a gap on the chrome. So it's really important that I clamp everything right where it needs to go. In the old days, this is how they did it with the spot tacks. Nowadays, they glue panels together. I mean, I don't know. I've seen glue come apart, so you'll never catch me using a glue gun. It's always going to be a welder. Okay, that one's in. Everything looks good. Go ahead and move on to the back now. I look up, I've been wanting to see this thing for quite some time. It's called a sling ray. It rolled into SEMA a couple years ago. And man, people haven't stopped talking about it since. Tim, what's happening?
What's up, Bill? How you doing, brother?
Man, all right. Man, I finally get to see this thing in person.
Sure do, man. What do you think of it?
Man, it's crazy. But finally seeing this thing in person, it's amazing. I mean, it's a work of art. It started as a Polaris slingshot, which is an auto cycle with 3 wheels.
We basically turned it into a 4-wheel conversion instead of 3 like the typical.
That's unbelievable.
Dropped in an LS3 with a stage 2 Whipple. And of course, we did this crazy exoskeleton to match Corvette ZR1. 650 plus horsepower, a huge sound system in it, and it's all on air ride.
Crazy.
Big adult go-kart.
This is the kind of thinking that I like, just totally out of the box. So what brings you by, man?
A couple little things that, when I got the car back, basically just weren't complete. I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
I totally get it. No matter how cool, how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
The engine bay over there, there's a lot of where you can see the wiring and everything else, that we needed like some kind of like sheet metal or something, that cool cover plate.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Big void right here. You can build a sheet metal panel, give it some bead rolling, make it look really nice. And the filter, man, yeah. It definitely needs something else on there for sure.
Started on the filter. I can always tell who the haters are because that's the first thing they talk about every time they look at this car. Everything else in this car is completely custom, so I think that should be too.
I might just have to test drive this thing, personally, and just make sure the suspension is right, the engine's performing right, just make sure everything's right for you.
Of course, man, whatever you gotta
look out for you.
Oh, I know you're looking out for me. I'm sure you want to take it for a spin to get that, get the feel for those compartments.
Yeah, I just gotta make sure,
Oh yeah, I totally get it, man. Of course, take it for a spin.
Looking at this, it's just a tease.
Man, I've been seeing this thing on the internet. I didn't think I'd see it in person.
Come on, man, let's go check it out. When you see a car like this, a vehicle like this, you gotta get behind the wheel and just feel it. This thing is great to drive. Handles good, rides good. It's got unbelievable amount of power. That's exactly what you want, driving something like this. I can totally understand the obsession of getting this thing 100% right and 100% finished. Everywhere you go, it draws a huge crowd. Everybody wants to talk to you about it. What I'm to ask is, how come this isn't finished right here? When we're done with this, there's not going to be a reason for that guy to say one word.
So what are we doing to this thing?
Everything has been done to this thing, which is everything.
Yeah. Once you have a project done like this, there's always that 1 or 2 or 10 things that you see that nobody else sees. Once you see those things, you can't unsee it. You're just fixated on it until it's fixed. Of course, one of the things is the air filter.
This thing is way too cool to have something that uncool on it.
The next thing, it's got a couple little pockets in the front, little factory, little voids where you see down in it, just looks unfinished.
We're going to fabricate custom panels on both sides of the engine to hide all that wiring. And then we'll color match them with two-tone paint.
Clean it up real good?
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool to get a project like this in the shop, even though we didn't build it. It's good to be a part of it. Without saying, because you can see right into the engine. The look of the covers are designed so to go over with the overall flow of the sling ray.
Basically, I'm gonna start out with a blank chipboard pen. I'm gonna scratch out a couple designs, see if I can get some things to work and fit around these areas, make it something you want to look at instead of something you look away from. I'm just getting a rough outline. I'm gonna see how I can tie everything in together to hide as much of these wires and these canisters as I can, because it's not very nice to look at. It's time consuming, but it's definitely necessary. See how much better it ties in already? That's already looking a lot better. As you can see, it's not just a flat piece of metal. It's got a lot of shapes and bends and contours. It's busy. I'm gonna have a lot of little tricky details on this one little panel, and I also have to duplicate this to the other side, which makes it even harder.
For most car guys, the sling ray is almost a perfect build. But even then, there's always one more thing. So right now, Jamie's making some custom panels to hide all that wiring.
So now I got all my pieces right here, taking the tape off, kind of just breaking them down into flat panels, try to space put them wherever. Once I do that, go ahead and cut it out, and then I'll start shaping it. So rather than making another template for the other side, go ahead and make my template out of the copies that I just cut out. Oh, it'll just be mirrored, flipped. That'll be my other side. So this is my passenger side, this is my driver's side, this is the side I made my template from. So I'm gonna take my template, mark both panels out at once so they're exactly the same. I put the same bins, the same roll, everything in it at the same time. All right, let's cross fingers. Take your time to do this. You can't just rush this. This has to be planned out. One wrong bend and you might as well throw the panel away. You can look at it right now and see that everything's exactly the same contour, but my bend right here connects right to my bend right there. This first one, now just a couple more left to go. Pretty happy with the shape. I'm ready to tack everything up. Pretty happy with the way this is starting to look. So all I need to do is mirror the other side, then I can continue on, forming on this piece around the edge.
We made real progress on the suspension for the 64 Lincoln. We tied the two links directly into the existing unibody.
How's your chain link look? Parallel or what? Looks pretty close right here.
We're buttoning up the bag mounts, and then we're moving on to turning this into a roadster.
Go ahead and tack it on the corner, just like you did on the other side.
You know, being here at Extensive working on these Lincolns, it's always cool to be able to put these parts on and see it all come together, and once it drives out and you see it sitting on the ground, it's pretty awesome.
Before you just go chopping a top off, you know, it's critical to reinforce the body first. This whole Lincoln is a unibody car, so that means there's no frame underneath this thing. The body itself is super rigid and doesn't need a frame, but we just can't cut the roof off or the whole car just bend in half, right? So what we need to do is cut 2 inches out of here and put in 2 2x4 box tubing in it. So this thing is really, really, really rigid. Let's get it, man. Once you get on that side and just kind of replicate what I'm doing on this side, we'll knock it out real quick. Straight as you can, right on the outside of the line, because it's going to be a lot easier to put the tubing in and out with it not being right on it. But you don't want to get too far out, because that's a bigger gap we have to weld up, and that just takes more time. Once that's out of the way, we can see what's under, see how much farther to go.
That's good right there. From underneath, it's one piece of metal that just curves around into the floor. So I raised it up to get a better angle with the cutting wheel. That'll be way easier than doing it from inside the car.
Yeah. Like a glove, pretty much what we have now is a frame for this thing. That tubing is going to hold the majority of the flex and weight of this car.
It was a pain, but we got it done.
Well, you ain't done yet. You know, you got the other half to do. Let's just get one side in at a time to make sure this thing doesn't buckle and bend and twist.
We'll finish getting these tacked in. I'm gonna go ahead and weld them out. These welds are gonna take a while. You don't wanna stay in one spot too long and have it eat up and distort the metal, so you gotta jump around and make sure it's done right.
Got this piece without a roof. The door frames will lose their structural integrity, so I made a support to put the strength and rigidity back into it. Everything looks good. You got everything welded in nice and solid. It's a lot of welding, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Now I got this for the pillar. That's going to keep everything nice and strong. Make sure these doors shut the same way as before when we had the top on it.
All right.
Man, you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man.
Because the Lincoln's not going to have a roof, the interior is going to be that much more visible. With that in mind, John and Brian are getting after it, making one-off door panels.
Oh, what you got there? Man, I come with breakfast tacos and dreams.
Okay.
So, my idea, instead of just a pleated panel, wood pleats. We'll take this board and cut it down to be about 3/8 of an inch thick, and basically cut the pleats into the wood.
I see.
Do a pearl white on top of this so the grain really pops out on it.
We carry that throughout the vehicle. That'll look really cool.
I know, that's why I was kind of like, got it. That's what we're gonna do. But first, taco. Now I got them cut to size. Next thing I gotta do is cut them in half the long way. Get them 2 pieces of the right thickness. We'll run them through the planer, get everything smooth, nice and neat, and then we'll cut our pleats in it. I've set up a fence on the table saw. I want 1.5 inch wide pleats, so cut me some 1.5 inch wide strips. Follow the fence, make the first cut, then I'll stack one in, make another cut, another cut, another cut. Each time I put one of those in there, it moves me 1.5 inches over, gives my spacing evenly all the way across the board, so we get all these things cut and we'll be looking good. All right, so with that done, as you can see, we've got our pleats all the way across here. Everything's cut, they're nice and even. So the next thing we'll do, clean up the edges, and they'll be ready to stain.
All right, let's go.
We're adding a lot of power to the 64 Lincoln with the brand new Coyote 5.0.
435 horsepower of fury.
Down.
Like it's supposed to be there.
Now that we finished the air suspension and reinforced the body, we can get going to turning this thing into a roadster.
We're gonna do a one-weather car.
Yeah, there's no putting the top back on after this.
One shot deal.
Cheers. We'll chop down low right here. And once we cap this part of the door, all this flows together. You know, you open the doors, man, it'll look nice without that indention there.
That's gonna be a clean body line right there. That's gonna look slick.
After we get it cut, we'll have the doors open all out of the way. And if we did our job right, the doors shut back in the right spot, right?
Everything's braced up super solid. I mean, I don't think it's gonna move at all. It's not going to move at all. I'm about to cut this piece out right here. It's gonna be below the door's jammed, so it's just gonna fade right on in. You'll never see it. Got the front half pretty much cut. Now I'm just gonna go on this line right here. That's it.
Got it?
She's loose.
3 feet. Oh, yeah.
Got a little splinter. Ready. Got a hard top for sale.
Whoa. Let's see if the door's shut.
All right. Look at that.
Looks good, man.
I think they should have made them like this.
Should be a factory option. The custom filler panels for the sling rate, they're all welded out. Now it's time to add some colors.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, just checking this thing out. Jamie just did a really good job making the filler panels for this. Next step, get it all color matched, making it look good. I don't want it to stand out, so I want this wrinkle black so it all matches everything else. Paint this the silver to match the little trim on the side.
To make a two-tone and match the texture and the color at the same time.
Yeah.
It's gonna look sick, man.
Yeah, let me know when you get done with it.
All right, man. Bill said he wants it a two-tone. From right here, over here, it will be base coat, clear coat, so it will be all gloss. From right here to this side, it will be all texture to match the rest of the car. I'm gonna have to cover this whole piece right here and pretty much leave this wide open. I'm showing you why I'm using this kind of texture is because it's actually real close to the texture of the car, so it'll match really good once this whole thing's done. It's gonna look real nice.
Now Jamie can get the new intake in. Yeah, it looks good. And we're ready to give this right back to Tim.
Morning, Bill.
Man, good morning, Tim.
Good, man. How you doing, dude?
Good, man. You want
donuts? Nah, man, I'm good. I already had my coffee today. So I figured you didn't call me for donuts this morning, huh?
Might have something to show you.
Super excited to see it, man.
Why don't you just have your little donut, and I'll be right back.
All right. Deal. Oh, man! This thing looks sick. As soon as Bill pulled out, first thing I could look at was the engine compartment. Those new custom panels and that air intake looks awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better. Absolutely love it. Man, dude, looks amazing, man. I love it.
You know, Tim, when you came in, it looked unfinished to you. I mean, there was just a couple of little issues here and there that you can't unsee once it's in your brain. You got to address it.
Oh, right? Definitely, man.
So that's what we did. Got it in the shop. Jamie got busy pounding some metal out, forming those panels for you. Man, he comes through.
Yeah.
Always.
Looks so good. I actually was only expecting some flat sheet metal panels, you know, maybe some bead roll on it, but they actually contoured the metal parts to where it actually looks like it's part of the car. It looks so cool.
After he hammered those out, shipped them over to the body shop, you know, they do what they do. Made these things super slick, two-tone paint, and added a texture on the inside, so it looks like a part you would get from the dealership.
Dude, it does. It totally wraps up this engine bay, though, for sure.
Well, that and
the intake.
The air intake that you had on there, it looked kind of cheesy, but now it's just over the top. You guys replicated the body from a Corvette, so, you know, just got a 2017 Z06 intake, made it just flow with the rest of it. These are definitely the jobs that, you know, just the little tweaks here and there makes such a huge statement. Goes a long way with the customer.
Just wraps it all up.
Yeah, man.
You know, I think this is now complete. Just enjoying driving.
Hey, speaking of,
yeah,
I got something I've been wanting to do.
What is it, man?
Man, I always wanted to do donuts while eating donuts.
What?
Yeah, man. You know,
I've been thinking about this for a while.
You want to do it?
Man, let's do it.
I'll hold this.
All right. I like donuts. I like doing donuts. So how do you top that off? You do donuts while eating donuts. This is a great day. Got a donut hanging out of my mouth, rubber flying, smoke everywhere, Tim screaming. Doesn't get better than that.
I really tried hard to play cool. I was like, I'm done. Wow, man, that was wild. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Did I wake you up a little bit?
Just a little bit, man. Good idea. Good idea.
We're painting the 64 Lincoln. I brought Lewis in to help him paint the custom wood door panels.
So what we've got here is oak, and it's a very grainy species of wood. So we're going to take the wire brush, and we're actually going to rip out all of the softwood to expose the true character of this species. You can start to see the difference on how the character of the grain is actually accented in the piece. All right, we got them all done. Now we just need to take them over to the paint booth, get some paint mixed up, and put some paint on them. Our base coat, you know, it's a brighter white. So what I've done is I've taken that base coat and added some of the pearl powders to it to get really close to the color of the vinyl that we're going to be using in the Lincoln. All right, so we got everything sprayed. We're going to let it dry. It looks really good. You can tell the wire brushing really helped to accent that grain. It's going to look sick, dude.
We're almost done making the 64 Lincoln topless. One of the last steps of the metalwork is capping the doors. You know, I'd love the no roof on this car. Warm, sunny day. Definitely not going to need the windows to roll up. So what we did is bent some 20-gauge sheet metal, and we're going to cap the doors so you just see smooth, custom lines and everything just flowing. And that's exactly what we want. Same spot. Right there. We put these bars across here. That way we know without having to get back and look at it that everything is 100% true straight. This is straight up against this tubing. It is perfectly parallel with that over there. You know, the way we do something like this is leave the panel that we made all in one piece. That way, when we're tacking everything in, everything is 100% straight. Once you get it tacked in, all you need to do is go back and make a cut where the door opening is going to be, and then you fine-tune the little edges, and before you know it, you got a cool custom cap for a 64 Lincoln. Look good. Let's go eat. The dash on the 64 Lincoln was in really rough shape. But John and Brian, they have no choice but to make it work.
Well, as you can see, this dash looks terrible. So we checked a couple of places, and no one on the interwebs has one. So that just meant we fixed the one we got. Just gonna take a little bit of fiberglass putty, or get it packed into here. We'll get it all body worked out. Now if that's done, the next thing we're going to do is start working on the defrost vent panel. We're going to mold in a speaker grill into that so we can put our speakers back in the factory location. We'll cut out a piece of wood. We'll just trace out our template. Once that's shaped out, a little bit of trim here to modify this factory panel so it'll fit in properly. Next thing to do, get it taped up, put it on the panel, get it body worked in. All right, got everything worked out on the dashboard. Looking good, body worked out, looks nice. The next thing we gotta do is wrap it. All right, so I got this nice white vinyl. Lay it up here, trace it all out, get our patterns done, and then sit down and sew it together. In order for this to lay out properly, we want to make sure we take the time to keep this nice and flat. If we get any wrinkles in it now, when we sew it together, we'll be sewing a wrinkle into it. Off to the side. Now what we'll do, get these things sewn together. I was growing up, I always wanted custom cars. I knew I couldn't afford it, so I had to figure out how to do it myself. I ended up sitting behind a sewing machine. But it's just kind of a natural progression. When you get into doing interiors, you kind of expand what you do, and the sewing actually helps you out. You can build anything you want because no matter what, you'll be able to cover it. I got a nightmare.
Would look like a nightmare. How long is this thing?
About 11 feet. This is not going to be fun.
It's just so much material. You sure this thing fits?
I have a little bit of faith in my process. I don't know which worked. No glasses or fogged up glasses. So now that everything's glued, steamed, and in place, we're just going to take our knife, take a little patience, and work our way around it, get everything trimmed out. And once it's all trimmed out, this thing will be ready to go in the car.
We finished the body work for the Lincoln. Now we can get it into paint. The owner wants a high gloss black to contrast the all white interior. Beautiful. And now we can put back in the 5.0 Coyote engine. That looks good on that nice black engine compartment. Yeah, it does. It's tight fit. Well, it's good. Everything else finished up so we can go for a ride. We're adding some custom 22-inch wheels and tires, dash, door panels, and seats. And we even re-chromed the original chrome. Man, it's crazy to think this thing sat in our lot for years. And now it looks brand new again.
I've been in the industry for 15 years now. I've had the skills and the knowledge over the years, but just we've never had the workplace to be able to pull it off. But here, it's a whole nother world. John was actually one of my instructors years ago. As an instructor, he knew exactly how to build you out as a person to turn you into a fabricator. It's really, really cool to have that kind of friendship/instructor going on, and it still carries on to this day. John hit me up on Facebook, and he's telling me there's a position available. I definitely knew I could not miss this opportunity. I had to take this. Since it is the major leagues over here, to get this opportunity and come here and to be able to use my skills and advance my skills, it's a very, very amazing feeling to feel like you've gotten to the top. It was a mind rush to see how this place operates and watch the vehicles come through and the speed we're having to build at, but still have the freedom to be able to build whatever we want. And I never would have thought I'd be standing here looking into this camera.
Old Lincoln's finally done. It's pretty funny. Frank's on his way to check out his one-weather car, and it's cold and rainy. Been a staple in the parking lot for quite some time. From a diamond in the rough to a full polished show car. Always knew his car was going to get finished one day.
Hey there, I'm here for a Lincoln.
Frank, what's happening?
Hey, Billy, Val, how are you guys?
It's a great day to pick up a one-weather car, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. I brought my rain jacket. I'm all set. You guys ready for me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I purchased that car years ago with intentions to eventually build it myself, but, I've been kind of busy over the last few years, you know what I mean? Man, I'm finally glad we're able to take it in, get it finished up. We built you something really special, man, really cool.
I am ready to see it.
Let's go
see this car.
Let's go see it.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see this car. It's going to be fantastic.
Check this out.
Holy cow! Woo! That is... out and saw that car. Oh my goodness, I was blown away. Just love at first sight. My wildest dreams, I had some ideas, but I couldn't even imagine anything like this.
All your buddies are going to be jealous.
Oh, they are. They are.
Frank, the rest of the world's going to be jealous about this car. There's nothing like seeing a big old long car with a no roof sitting on the ground like this one. You can't tell how many hours and hours of metal work that went into it. I thought it was a solid car. Once we got it blasted, came back, it was way, way worse shape than I originally thought. So we had to end up replacing the front fender, the rear quarter, and the hood also. Once we got the body straight, the fun begins. This car being, a unibody, just cutting the roof off isn't that easy. So what we had to do is go in and basically built a frame inside the body of the car to make it super rigid.
Give it enough stiffness so it's not twisting all over the place. Yeah, that's awesome.
So once we did that, we were able to cut the roof totally off, and we went and capped the top of the doors, and then capped the whole deck. I don't think it gets any cleaner than this.
It feels like poised and relaxed, but at the same time like ready to jump, like a Black Panther ready to pounce.
Of course, you know, on a car like this, you gotta have it low. So that's what we did. All custom air suspension on it and set all the way on the ground. That just makes this car. Check out underneath the hood.
All right, let's take a look at the motor. Oh my God, that is incredible. Wow.
Right?
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Late model 5.0. You got about 450 horsepower under the hood now. This thing will get it.
Can't wait to get behind the wheel and try it out for myself.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you like this. I know you kind of already seen it, but check out the interior.
All right, let's go look at the interior. That is awesome.
This is one of the most important aspects of the car itself. When, you know, there's no roof, that's one of the first things you come up and look at. You know, John and the guys, I mean, look.
They did an amazing job. It's incredible.
And you can see it looks really, really clean. They put wood in all the door panels, wood accents all throughout, and then painted it all white. So it looks like something that would have came in this car back in the 60s.
Yep. The interior of this car is incredible. The white finishes with the piping on the seats, the white washed wood, it's just clean and perfect. Blew me out of the water. You not only met my expectations, you so far exceeded them, I can hardly find the words to describe.
Each and every person in the shop helped out with this project. You know, I can't thank them enough.
Woo! That is awesome.
This car looks amazing now.
Bill, this is so cool. I love it. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
You're very welcome.
Great car.